sneakerheads and basketball enthusiasts alike, this is the only land, and we are back with a performance review for these, the Curry 12s. And before we get into that, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe button if you like what you've seen before, or you like what you see today, and let's get right into it. Starting off with the traction. If you guys didn't know and haven't used a Curry model in like the last 3 models, I believe they started that with the Curry 9. They used the flow material as the cushioning, so as the midsole, the cushioning, and as the outsole. I performed I tested these inside, and then just most recently, I think it was like 2 days ago, I tested these outside. I will say that the outsole has kind of a break-in time period, say a couple hours, so that's probably a couple runs for whoever is grabbing these, if you are still grabbing these. It definitely needs a break-in. I know there was a point where I had to actually swap. I believe it was the second time I was wearing them. I was at a more competitive run, and I couldn't take it anymore. I think I swapped to, I don't know, whatever I had in my bag, I swapped it out. Oh, I think it was the 28s. I had the Jordan 28s here, so I ended up swapping out to those because I wanted to win the game. But it did actually get way better. It got way better. It performed way better. Compared to the Curry 9, which is all I can compare it to because that's the last one I had. The Curry 9's traction was so good at points that I felt like there were times where I felt like it should move and it didn't move, and I almost sprained my ankle because of those. I didn't have those issues when it ended up getting better, but it did end up performing very, very well. What I will say is that outside, even though it does perform well, you are not going to get very many runs outside. This is not an outside sneaker. You should definitely exclusively kind of wear these inside. I only wore them once, if I can remember, outside, and it was only for like an hour and a half, and it wore down. You can see that it wore down. I'll show you guys images of this, but you can see here on the lateral portion that it wore down there. I believe that's probably on both pairs. No, it's mainly on my right pair. And then towards my forefoot, you can just see it wore down quite a lot. It's very dirty, obviously. I put 24 plus hours in these, so they're just dirty, and I didn't stop to clean them. I spilled like a protein shake on these. I wore them outside. I wore them inside. At some point, I was wearing them as like dad shoes because they're comfortable. So traction, solid, but you're gonna have to wait on that break in time. You're just gonna have to do what you have to do. But you could probably find these on sale at this point, so maybe it's worth it. Now moving on up to the midsole and cushioning. I will grab out my notes for this one. For the cushioning, obviously, like I said, you have the flow cushioning, but it does have it says dual density UA flow cushioning, offers premium comfort, a lightweight and bouncy feel, it's a superior grip. That's for the outsole. It says multi-segmented forefoot plate enhances court feel, support, and flexibility. And then it says a midfoot shanks provides added stability. I could definitely feel the stability in there when it comes to the shank. You can see that it's not going to turn that much, which I feel like was kind of an issue with the 9s a little bit. The 9s felt a little bit less stable as opposed to these. And I guess maybe that would include that plate in the forefoot as well, because you felt a little bit higher off the ground in the 9s to me than you did in these. Very comfortable. Like I said, I was wearing them around just casually. I still kind of wear them around just casually because they're just super comfortable. Jumping, running, cutting, all of the things that you're doing basketball-wise and walking. So just casually walking around. I'm not 20 anymore, so like I like to have comfortable things on my feet, and these are just very easy to just slip on. And walk around casually and be okay for the day. I love the cushioning on these. I'm gonna be honest. The flow is probably my favorite foam right now. I don't want to say ever, but it's probably my favorite foam right now for sure, because you're able to use the foam as the outsole and as the cushioning. And how many sneaker brands have the ability to do that and do it well? So shout out to Curry and Under Armour for really doing a great job on that. And then as you move up, you can talk about the materials, and I'm going to go back to my notes for those. For the materials, on the upper, you have a breathable engineered mesh. durable overlays, molded tongue, and then an external 3D molded TPU heel counter. Oh, and then a molded tongue with foam pockets. So you have that engineered mesh. You can literally see it under these like suede, because it seems like the engineered mesh is underneath, and then that ties like the suede pieces that they have together here. And then there's more suede on the toe box here, and all of that is very breathable. So it actually says in the little portion about the mesh that it's supposed to be for breathability. You look at the materials here and you wouldn't really guess that, but the little grooves that they added in there of just that flexible material, that flexible mesh, it makes a world's worth of difference. This is not one of those sneakers where you're gonna be like, man, they're really hot because of all the little suede pieces that we have here. You're not gonna have that issue at all. They actually did look really nice when I first grabbed them, just to go onto like the style portion of them. I'd still wear them outside. I would still wear them outside, but for breathability and just like the comfort, the upper's really nice. It reminds me kind of an Ultra Boost, not as flexible, because in the Ultra Boost, I don't know if anyone's ever tried to play basketball in Ultra Boost, you will, depending on how hard you're going, you feel like you could tear through that material. It's not that flexible, but it is flexible enough where you feel like you can move around in them and still be good. Like you're not gonna tear through this material here. And then from there we can go into the lockdown, and we have one of those rare lockdowns with the flat laces that performed decent. I won't say they performed amazingly well. I'll go back to my notes just to verify. Laces got loose a couple times, which made the sneakers get loose a few times. Obviously the laces untied, then yeah, but for the most part, compared to flat laces, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how I feel. Flat laces, just if they don't have like a grippy type of material to them, they will just slide off of each other. No matter how tight you tie them, double knot them, they will slide off. Especially when you're running around a lot, it's gonna happen. I don't want to say for a fact, but there's a bunch of sneakers in here. I've tested a bunch of sneakers. You guys can go look at the videos if you want. Flat laces don't usually perform well when it comes to just staying tied, and that does affect lockdown. But it was, for the most part, pretty good. I won't say perfect. Perfect is, I don't have to worry about them all, but for the most part, it was pretty good. When it comes to lockdown, this is just a comfortable sneaker, man. The tongue, it looks flat and it has like hard edges, and you would expect that to hurt, but you don't have issue with that moving around too much. And even when it does, the cushiony parts that you like, the foam parts that you have in here, like around it, so comfortable, so comfortable. You're never really gonna get an issue with the tongue digging into your top of your foot, which is great. And then the heel cup is 3D molded, or I believe it's 3D printed, and it has like foam in the back as well, and this is super nice too. My big thing is when it's not noticeable, it usually means it's performing pretty well, or it's performing up to what it's supposed to perform. What I will say about this heel cup is it does kind of remind me of the Tatums that he made specifically for kids, for like where they could like push it down and slide their feet in. It doesn't obviously have that push down effect there where you can slide your feet in, but you can literally not really untie these and just slide your feet in the back and go play basketball with no problem, which I did a couple times, and I love that feature. And still be locked into your shoes, which is a great part of this. I do love that whole thought process to that. I don't know if that was why they did it, but I love it. Honestly, I really like these sneakers. If you didn't notice, I said I love them a couple times. I really like these sneakers. The retail for these was $140. What I will say is I'll go into the colorway just very quickly. This is the Galaxy colorway. I didn't pay attention to many of the colorways that came out. Little did I even know that after the USA colorway that he had, that's not what they were called, but they were USA themed, that this is like one of the first colorways, and this is just themed around the gravitational pull that he gets on the court. Whenever Steph is on the court, obviously you have to pay attention to where he's at. Everyone has to know where Steph is at, because he's just running around, running through screens, running around screens, running around people, trying to get open, trying to get the ball, just to get an easier open shot, and he is the greatest shooter of all time. There's not really much of a debate. So he just demands that type of attention, and that is they say this quite frequently. That's the gravitational pull that he has. Everyone just has to pay attention. On screens, you're usually doubling. It's hard to guard somebody who can just shoot that well and that quick. And that was the thought process behind the colorway. I did love the colorway. Now that I'm talking about it, I might get another one. To be honest, that's like a pair of dad shoes to walk around in. It's not a bad sneaker, and it's not a bad colorway. I don't want to wash them and ruin them. Like I said, I did spill a protein shake on these. I tried to clean it as much as possible, but they are just shot. But I think that's it. If I could give you, I'm not doing. These came out probably either early 2025 or late 24. Hold on, I know I have a list that will tell me. Shoes to test. Curry 12s. Do I even have them on this list? The Curry 12 came out October 18th of 2024. So, where was I going with this? Oh, so never made a list for the 2024 sneakers. If you guys want, I could just put that somewhere. Or I can make a video if you guys want. I just didn't feel like I had enough sneakers, had tested enough sneakers, and I didn't feel like editing, which is why a lot of all this stuff is late. But if you guys want, I can still do that. But this might be one of my favorite sneakers from 2024. Like, for sure. It's going to be fairly, if I do that list, it's going to be up there. I do enjoy these that much. But once again, thank you guys for watching. Do me a favor to like button, subscribe button if you've seen before. So today is the only lane. I'm out of here. You guys have a good one.